program that's the personality, if the program that's the personality detects that there is a missing of attention, it goes into alarm. Because according to the program, if your attention is not involved with the personality, you're dying. You're dying. Because the personality is the form that you've taken yourself to be. And if you move away from that form, you move away from the existence of you, according to the program. The program is not awakened or alive, but it's been programmed to detect the absence of attention. It's been programmed to detect the absence of attention. And so if your attention is to go away from the thought activity, and you are now using this attention to pay attention to the breath in the body, so that awareness is available for you to notice, right? So you can make the leap from being a personality to being the awareness. It's not really a leap because the awareness was always there, but your attention is the leap, okay? So that the program will have you go unconscious as a way of removing you from that process and just take you into an unconscious state. When you go into an unconscious state, you will go into a thought process. It'll look like a dream, right? Because a dream is a thought process that happens when the body's sleeping. So it's enough to say, if you find that you have difficulty staying awake during meditation, the solution to that, right, is to increase your intention. Intention is real. Increase your intention. Allow yourself to understand that this practice is the most important thing in your life. Why? Because it is an opportunity for you to discover the natural state. It's an opportunity for you to notice the natural state, to notice your true nature. And upon noticing your true nature, you notice the opportunity that will allow you to experience the freedom from living in the limited little pea-shooter brain personality that will be the rest of your life unless you wake up. There is no life in the life of a personality. That's not life. That's not being alive. The personality is not alive. If an actor learns to play a character in a play or a movie, if an actor learns to play a character in a play or a movie and learns the script of the character and learns the way the character moves their body, right? Learns how the character talks. A good actor studies that stuff, right? Yeah, and when the actor's doing the acting, right, the reason it works is because their ground of being is their true nature. The actor is acting the character consciously, behaving as if they are the character. But they know they're really not, so if the character is angry, they're not angry, but they're pretending to be angry, right? And if you get really good at it, you can get good at calling the energy of anger up, right? Yeah, so that's how acting works. But the problem that most of humanity has is they're actors that learn the script gradually. It took your childhood to learn the script, to learn how you are, you know, to express your unique individuality, right? Took your childhood to learn the script and learn the role that you're playing. And then you lived out the rest of your life in the role. That would be like the actor, you know, Rupert Spira uses this model as an example. You know, the famous, if you listen to Rupert Spira, this is his famous John Smith talk, where he talks about the fact that John Smith is an actor and he was playing in a play and after the play, which played this role in the play many, many times, and after the play one night, he was talking to his friends, and his friends noticed that he was still in the character of the play. And they had to tell him, John, you're not that character. You're John Smith. You're not that character. The character was something that he learned to pretend to be. that John Smith, that is his natural nature, his true nature, was always there while he was playing the character. And if he forgets that he is who he really is, and he thinks he is the character, who he really is will still always be there. And if he wakes up and remembers who he really is, he will say, oh, I've always been this. This is the same with this. If you wake up and experience the natural state, if you wake up and experience the awareness that is your natural experience of existence, having awoken up to that, one of the things that people typically say is, oh, this? Well, this has always been like this. This isn't new. This has always been like this. Yeah? The natural state has always been there. That's why it's called natural. It's naturally there. It's naturally there. Nothing has to happen for it to be there. It's always there, right? So it becomes a matter of allowing yourself, through studying the concepts and practicing the practices, to have brief moments, brief glimpses of this, right? And then to understand that this is you. These brief moments are moments in which the glasses of the personality were momentarily off your face, and you were seeing the truth. You were seeing the actual experience of what you are. Okay, but then the personality will kick back in again, right? And what people say a lot of the time, who are, professional seekers, one of the things they say all the time is, oh, I had it and I lost it. I was in the state of awareness and I lost it, right? Well, if they're saying that, they don't yet understand the truth. They have not yet conceptually understood the truth. Because if you understand the truth, you realize it's impossible for you to lose it. That's not possible. And if you understand that, then you realize what happens is thinking started to occur. Your attention went back to thinking, right? And this is called the default state. It is so typical and so usual and so familiar that you fall back into it, and then you say, oh, I had it and I lost it. No, you didn't have it and you lost it. You're just paying attention to the personality material again. That's all you're doing. It's a matter of attention. You're paying attention to the personality. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're awake, if you have practiced sufficiently, and when I say practice sufficiently, what I mean is you have the formal practice. The formal practice is where you can practice practicing, because you're controlling the situation in the formal practice. You can practice practicing. You can get better at practicing. You can get better at letting go. You can get better at relaxing the body. You can get better at allowing the mind to calm down. So you're practicing. So you get good at practicing. Then you want to take that ability to practice and use it all the time. That's called the informal practice. That's the real deal. Because if you're meditating a half hour a day, that's 23 and a half hours of insanity and 30 minutes of sanity. It's not going to work. You've got to take the experience of sanity and start to plug it in your everyday life as much as possible, right? So brief moments of resting as awareness as often as possible is the practice that will end the delusion. That's the practice that will bring you into a state of consistent experience of awareness itself. And when you're in that practice, right, you can watch the activity of the personality instead of suffer from it. You can watch what's happening in the thought process instead of believing that you're thinking those thoughts. It's a whole different view, right? In the highest Buddhist teachings, they literally call it the view. When you wake up, there's the view. What's the view? The view is above all the points of view. It's not a point of view. It sees all points of view is the view. So you could be watching the debate, right? And you could be listening to the debate, watching how it's interacting with your conditioning and your personality, right? You can watch it interact with your person. In the meantime, if you've been sufficiently practiced, you're experiencing a resting as awareness, watching this show and that show. You see what I'm saying? This show and that show, right? But if you don't know that, then you only have this show and that show, and God help you. Because when you're plugging in these brief moments of resting as awareness, during that time, you're in the natural state. right? So in the natural state, and then thoughts start to happen, so you go into the unnatural state, right? But if you keep practicing this consistently, you're breaking it up now. You're breaking it up now. So the illusion is harder to maintain because you have more moments outside the illusion. And then it gets to a point where there's a thing called critical mass. Anybody familiar with critical mass? You know, critical mass is when if things are out of balance, which they are, right? The personality is in fight or flight condition all the time, right? It's in the sympathetic nervous system condition all the time. So through practice, if that starts to relax, right, and comes back into a balanced state, when it comes into a balanced state, it becomes possible to experience what's beyond both states. When it becomes possible to experience the equanimity, when they talk about equanimity, right? When they talk about being even and balanced in the way you are, they're talking about your nervous system being in balance, that you're no longer in fight or flight, right? That you're in a balanced state. And when you're in a balanced state, right, that means that the body is in a natural state. Contentment is the natural experience. Contentment. Why? Because the awareness that is your true nature doesn't need anything. Therefore, it's content. Doesn't want anything. Therefore, it's content. Right? It's not existing in time. Therefore, it's not looking forward to anything. Doesn't have a past. Therefore, it's not remembering anything. This is freedom. This is the view from above. This is the view from awareness looking down at the manifestations that have occurred as a result of your conditioning. No, could be. I mean, because one of the things that being awake allows you to see from the view is it allows you to see workability, right? So one of the things that you witness if you're paying attention to the political horseshit that goes on these days, right, is you see the difference between that and workability, and you realize what a dramatic difference it is. It's a very dramatic difference. You know, when the leadership of our country is manifesting an insane process, right? That's what you see it as when you look at it from an awake state. If you look at it from a personality state, you have to fit yourself in somewhere in this process, in this ideology. But if you look at it from an awake state, the whole ideology is crazy. But acceptance is not the acceptance that I'm speaking of, is the acceptance that's an expression of the natural state. It's not the personality practicing acceptance. That's a different story. The personality practicing acceptance, right? The personality trying to be different. That's what it's doing when it's practicing acceptance. But when you're in the natural state, acceptance is your nature. You don't have to practice anything. You know, the awareness that is your natural state doesn't challenge or question or find itself into conflict with anything. It just doesn't find itself into conflict with anything. How can it? Because everything is it. How can you be in conflict with everything when you are everything? You know, now that may sound like a very esoteric statement, right? And I understand that. But one of the reasons that you should continue to study the teachings along with the practice is so that these esoteric states become obvious to you. See, the truth is, all there is awareness. That's the truth. All there is awareness. You think that this is different. You think this is outside of you and you're separate from it, right? But what you see when you look, right, is you're looking at awareness that has taken the form that has been given by your conditioning. That's what you're looking at, isn't it? Yeah, when you were a kid and you didn't have language, if you were in this room, you wouldn't know anything, right? But you learned it little by little, right? This is a chair, that's the floor, this is, right? And so you conceptually built a reality, and that reality lives in your brain, right? So now, when you look out of your eyes, what comes in goes into the brain. Do you know that the visual cortex, the visual nerves are the only nerves that are outside of the skull? The visual nerves are outside of the skull. They go right to the base of the brain. Yeah. So you're seeing, the first thing that's happening is you're seeing. Then the brain takes the data that you've seen with, uses your conditioning to process the raw data, and then you end up with this. That's what's happening all the time. That's what's happening. But see, if you don't understand that, you think this is real and you're separate from this, right? And then you live in that world. And it's not an easy life. It's not an easy life to live in the world that you're separate from, right? Where there's 8 billion other people that have strategies about their survival and about how much they're going to get. There's only so much money and water and resources, right? There's not enough for everybody, so the game is on. That's what's going on. The game is on. And everybody's living on this planet as if there's unlimited resources. So we will perpetuate our own demise. That's the way it's going to go. Any other questions before we're all depressed?